This conference will now be recorded.
This is the one-page marketing plan, part of the Continuing Professional Development Series, the CPD. Albert Einstein was once giving an exam paper to his graduating class. It turned out that it was the exact same exam paper he had given in the previous year. His teaching assistant, alarmed at what he saw and thinking it to be the result of the professor's absent-mindedness, alerted Einstein. "Excuse me, sir," said the shy assistant, not quite sure how to tell a great man about his blunder. "Yes," said Einstein. "Well, it's about your test you just handed out." Einstein waited patiently. "I'm not sure if you realize it, but this is the same test you gave out last year. In fact, it's identical." Einstein paused to think for a moment and then said, "Yes, it is the same test, but the answers have changed." And so it is with real estate. The answers have changed. As we discussed in our last class on branding yourself in 2020, successful realtors used to have to put ads in the newspaper, place an ad in the yellow pages, go door knocking, and rely on open house signs and yard signs to bring them business. Most realtors, however, would just rely on the 3 Ps. Does anyone remember what those are? Those are put a sign in the yard, put it in MLS, and pray. But with the invention of the internet, everything has changed. Now you have Google, social media, blogs, websites, and a whole bunch of other things to worry about. How are you going to get business in 2020? Some people some of those, including right here in our office, have discovered that the old style ways can work very well for them. For example, we have a broker in our office that focuses most of her energies on open houses and does quite well doing so. We drive by her signs and she has a lot of them all the time, even in midweek. But as Einstein said, the answers have changed. And that is what we will be talking about today. Okay, before we jump into developing your own one-page marketing plan, it is important you understand the difference between strategy and tactics, as this is absolutely the key to our marketing success. Look at the strategy. It's the big picture planning that you do to follow your tactics. Since my husband's a contractor, let's use the example of building a house. He doesn't just go order a bunch of lumber and nails and start building a spec home in Broken Top. As good as he is, that would be a disaster. First, he comes up with an idea, hires an architect, and in this case, pretty much plans everything out, right down to the plumbing fixtures and house colors before he even starts to dig out the foundation, and that's strategy. So what then is tactics? Once my husband has his plans in place, he can now hire the excavator, concrete sub, framer, and all the other subs and suppliers to complete his plan. That's tactics. You can't do anything worthwhile successfully without both strategy and tactics. Strategy without tactics leads to paralysis by analysis. We've had brokers in this business spend all their time getting more broker designations and taking classes, but never actually implementing anything. At some point, my husband has to say, okay, the plan looks good, and I have my building permits and ARC approval, so now it's time to get started. Tactics without strategy can also be a problem and leads to the bright, shiny object syndrome. What if my husband just started pouring the foundation and it was in the wrong place? And then he built a wall and it was in the wrong place. Clearly, he would be building without a good plan. With realtors, there is just this temptation to try the latest shiny object they see at a trade show or online, or just do whatever else everyone else is doing without first having a plan, which is the strategy. You need both strategy and tactics to be successful, but developing your strategy must come first. This is where your one-page marketing plan comes in. Think of your marketing plan as a blueprint for getting and retaining customers. Here's the one-page marketing plan. Notice that there are 9 squares split up into 3 major phases of the marketing process. We'll call them before, during, and after. The before phase, which is boxes 1 through 3. At this stage, prospective customers don't even know you exist. The successful completion of this phase results in the prospects knowing who you are and indicating interest. This section includes 1, identifying your target market, 2, noting what your message to your target market will be, and 3, identifying the media you will use to reach your target market. The during phase, boxes 4 through 6. We label people who are going through the during phase as leads. These have indicated some interest in you. The successful completion of this phase results in the leads ready to have you represent them on buying or selling real estate. This section includes 4, your lead capture system, 5, your lead nurturing system, and then 6, your sales conversion strategy. The after phase are boxes 7 through 9. People in this phase we simply label as customers. At the beginning of this phase, people are already your clients. But this phase never ends. And when executed correctly, this phase results in an endless cycle where your client comes back to you again and again for all their real estate needs. This section includes box 7, how will you deliver a world-class experience? Box 8, how will you increase your customer lifetime value? And box 9, how will you orchestrate and stimulate referrals? So let's break this all down. Let's go to phase 1, the before phase. In the before phase, you are dealing with potential prospects that may not even know you exist. In this phase, you will identify your target market, that is, the people you want to attract and work with. The goal of this phase is to get people to know you in 2020 and to respond to your message. Once they have responded to your message, they become a lead and enter into the second phase of your process. Identify your target market, which is box 1. Usually when I ask a new broker about their marketing plan, they really have never really thought about who their target market is. Most just assume it is everyone. Most realtors worry about narrowing down their target market because they don't want to exclude anyone. The problem with this is that they then have become just one of over 2,200 realtors in Central Oregon, and you're not giving anyone a compelling reason to hire you. Remember, trying to target everyone really means you're targeting no one. By going too broad, you will kill your specialness. And if everyone is the same, the client only has price as a means to decide who to use. By narrowly defining a target market, you can become a specialist, somebody people can and want to turn to as the expert. Do you already have a strong base of clients you are working with? If you do, that's great, and then you can sleep until phase 3 of today's class. But even realtors with a strong base know that they have to keep replenishing them on a regular basis. And Dana would be a good example of somebody here at Ben Premier who has a really good base built up of over 200 contacts. However, that did not happen overnight, and it did not happen without a good plan, a strategy, and a large investment of her time and effort. Her target market in this case has been her BNI group, which is an influential group of community members that can help refer business to one another. At this point in time, Dana estimates about 60% of her business can be attributed to past and current members of her BNI group. The rest of her business is from referrals from past clients who are her fans, and some come from our company website, which is part of the importance of having a good bio on that website. But we know by talking with her that Dana has to clean up her list of clients every year and work on replacing those who have moved away or died or some other reason are no longer clients. And yes, Dana still attends and works her BNI group every Wednesday morning. So where will you find your target market? Some ideas we discussed in Being Known in 2020 class included utilizing your unique background to attract people of like interests. For example, if my husband was to start doing real estate, he would likely combine real estate with his background in construction. Getting hyperfocal, developing a smaller, well-defined space like Lisa Cole in Broken Top. Connect with community influencers like the Human Resources Department in various industries and businesses locally. Identifying your favorite client that you really enjoyed working with. For example, lots of people love working with first-time homebuyers. Or just fill a void. Just make sure you have a passion for working with your niche or it will not work for you. Here's some examples of voids or people who are potential clients, homeowners who are downsizing, expired listings, real estate investors, vacation rentals, current FSBOs, affordable flipping properties, up-and-coming neighborhoods, small targeted market segments, off-market properties, specific geographic areas, single-family residences, At-home closings, architectural niches such as a modern home, a craftsman home, unique lifestyles like skiers, horses, downtown, walkable. So take a minute and fill out section 1, or at least jot down a few ideas of your target market. Now, we have to identify your message. The content is key here to building likeness, trust, and loyalty. Remember from the Known in 2020 class, agents they like, trust, and respect the most get your business. But you don't want to say, hey, use me, as your realtor. It will be hard to lower the trust barrier with that approach. Instead, you may want to start by trying to simply invite people to put their hand up and indicate interest. I received an email this morning from a company called The Paperless Agent with a very enticing subject line. Revealed, get leads and listings this month. And that got my attention, so I opened the email just based on the subject line. The first line of the email said, never struggle to get listings again. Got my attention again. And then they offered me something of value. Get the bulletproof free listing packet responsible for 6+ listing appointments each week and win the listing before you even show up. They still have my attention. And then they offered this and lots more in a free webinar, so I signed up. So what's going on? Somebody knew I was a realtor and crafted a message they thought I might be interested in. They had an enticing subject line in the email that made me open it. The opening line promised to solve my biggest pain, getting listings in a competitive market. Then they offered me something of value, a sneak peek of their pre-listing presentation that they use to get listings, and then an opportunity to learn more in a free webinar. Once in the webinar, they did show and talk about the pre-listing presentation as promised. Plus, they established their authority for doing so as very successful realtors. But what were they really selling here? They certainly got my attention. They're not selling leads or a listing presentation. They know that what we are teaching you today takes time and effort. So they package it up and sell it to you in a complete marketing plan for $69 a month. But it does lack one big element. It's not customized for your target market, and it doesn't offer content specific to them. It's a general plan that is certainly better than doing nothing. But for dedicated and inspired realtors, you can do better. You need to craft a message for your target market. When you're crafting your message specific to your target market, like the Paperless Agent, you'll be focusing on their pain, their needs, thoughts, and emotions. By doing this, you enter into a conversation already going on in the minds of your ideal clients. To think of who your target market is. Now write down 20 questions that you think concern them the most. Make these questions and answers the focus of your content. So what's your unique selling proposition? I'm sure you've all heard the term unique selling proposition, or USP for short. Do you know what your USP is? In short, what sets you apart from your competition? Why should I buy from you rather than from any other realtor? It can't be quality and great service. That's just part of good practice, business practice, and nothing unique. Anyway, this is something that happens after they're your clients. Your USP is something that happens before. You could say, I don't have a USP because there's nothing unique about selling real estate, but you would be wrong. Think of just a cup of coffee. Why then are people willing to pay more for a latte from a place that puts a fancy design made on the top rather than save the money and go to a place that just serves a latte? For that matter, when we travel, we often witness the long lines of people waiting for a Starbucks coffee when there's another place we can get coffee just a few feet away. They're certainly not going there for a price. So what is Starbucks USP? According to Starbucks, it is love your beverage or let us know. We'll always make it right. I'll admit I never understood Starbucks, but it works. So how do you figure out what your unique selling proposition is and what your message should be? Try figuring out what your target market actually wants. What's their pain? Here's another example that happened to us. We recently needed to buy a new TV, and our pain was figuring out how to make it work with our existing surround sound system. So my husband called up Steve from Stereo Planet, not to get the best price, but to get pain relief. Steve offers something that Costco does not. It's in-home installation and setups, and techs knowledgeable enough to figure out how to make our surround sound and controllers all work. So what is Stereo Planet's USP? Again, it's not price. It costs us several $100s more to use them, but people will pay more if you can identify and relieve them of their pain. Steve's selling proposition is that they can help identify and sell you the best television for your home, come to your home and install it, and make it work with your existing controllers and surround sound system so you don't have to worry about it. And that's something we would gladly pay extra for. Use the right formula when creating content. Whatever you decide your message should be, make sure to remember the right formula from our last class. Make sure it's relevant. For example, how did you know that was on my mind? Make sure it has common interest. You need to create an emotional bond with this material. Make sure it's timely. For example, bank REO properties were timely back in 2008, but now not so much. And above all, make sure it's entertaining. Don't be boring. So write down a few notes on what your content should be for your target market. Box 3 is reaching prospects with advertising media. Advertising is the primary vehicle realtors use to reach their target market and communicate your message if you are trying to grow your base. If you have a base but you have not been reaching out to them, perhaps it's going to be a major commitment of time attending classes taught by me on how to organize your base, getting your base organized, and preparing materials that they will find valuable, and actually setting up and starting your campaign. Otherwise, you may likely find yourself in that group where even though 85 to 90% of your clients think you did a great job for them and would recommend you to others, only 25% actually used you again. But if you need to build your base because you've lost past clients to other brokers or just need new clients to fill your base, one of the best ways to do this is by advertising. But if you're going to do this, you need to understand a few key things. REO and customer acquisition costs. Most brokers I talk with ask me, how can I get my name out there? Well, I'm going to tell you up front, that's a losing proposition. We do that as a company, but what we do and what you should do are two entirely different things when it comes to advertising. For our company, we do need to get our name out there. From the beginning, we had a strategy of getting our name out there for the people interested in real estate in Bend, ARC, which of course, if you've been paying attention to my classes, is online. 93% of all people in the market to buy a home search online, with more than 50% doing this as their first step in buying a home. Some of our marketing includes taking out Google Ads for key search terms. We're weekly involved in SEO efforts and are on the first page of Google of pretty much every other local company for the primary search terms of that people type in when searching for homes in Bend, such as Bend real estate, Bend, Oregon real estate. And we advertise in social media with both ads designed to get people to our website, such as how much your home is worth, and advertise in social media with ads designed to promote our brokers, such as our newly listed ads. But to follow our model would be a waste of money and time for you as a realtor because you would end up being a small fish in a big pond. And I will say that brokers would not be willing to have a marketing budget anywhere near what we spend as a company. For example, we have Buy to Bend coming up, which is both a major commitment of time and money for the company, and the sponsorship fee alone is tens of thousands of dollars. This is not to say that some realtors have had great success doing this, and many successful brokers like Krista Mayshore, who we'll talk about in a few minutes, have huge marketing and advertising budgets. We're talking six figures here. For example, many successful realtors have found that purchasing a Boomtown website and paying for Google Ads has resulted in a positive return on their investment, which is our ROI, and they have built their entire business around it. When pay-per-click was cheaper, it was actually a pretty cost-effective way to make a lot of money. Now you have to work pretty hard to get good returns. A better way to look at this for realtor is customer acquisition cost. We actually do this as a company all the time, and we know how much it costs for us every lead that goes out to the brokers, for example. I can tell you though, we operate off a negative ROI, which you do not want to do. But this is because leads are simply a byproduct of our overall advertising and branding efforts. However, for a broker to advertise on Google pay-per-click makes much more sense when you figure out how your cost of acquisition and compare it to what you will make even after splits. So let's say you spend $10,000 in advertising on pay-per-click. Your average cost per ad was $15. And if you're able to work hard and get a 3% conversion rate to turn those leads into actual customers, and you have an attrition rate of 30%, those are, for instance, expired listings, and the average agent commission was $10,000, that's average on a $400,000 sale, that leaves a gross commission of $140,000. If you're able to keep 80% with 20% going to the company, then your net commission would be $112,000. Of course, you would still have expenses such as Boomtown to pay out of this, and if you hire assistant work the leads, that'd also be a cost to consider. But on your ROI on commissionable income would be more than 10 times the cost. Keep in mind the above is scalable. So you should get the same ROI if you put in 20,000 instead of 10,000. Also, ad prices change all the time and are considerably more expensive than when we first started pay-per-click. But you can apply the same ROI and customer acquisition costs to any form of advertising you use in order to build your customer base, whether it be neighborhood postcards, a social media campaign where you send people to a landing page, such as how much is your home worth, newspaper ads in a source like Otis does, or any other form of advertising such as radio or TV ads like our accountant does on a regular basis. Our accountant, by the way, is Capstone CPA. You should know what works best and which form of advertising works best for you. Another thing to take into account in determining ROI is the customer lifetime value. If you get a customer through Google pay-per-click and earn a commission on that customer, and you've done a good job keeping this customer and get more sales down the road, that completely changes the economics of your campaign. And if you get referrals from that customer as well, that changes it even more. This again is why we place so much emphasis on keeping in touch with your client base, especially after the sale. It's impossible not to talk about social media when it comes to advertising for realtors. By collecting metadata on subscribers, social media like Facebook has made it possible to really focus advertising on your target market, although recent lawsuits have made it less so. Let's say, for example, you want to target visitors to Bend. When we travel, we are frequently hit with ads in our Facebook stream before we're even out of the airport for restaurants, lodging, or activities from companies that know we are visiting from out of town. Ben Premier also runs what we call our airport ad for the same purpose. We understand that people first visit Ben before they buy. And if they see us first on Facebook and then see our location while we are downtown, they are more apt to stop in and inquire about properties if they might be considering moving here. Facebook also allows you to add additional parameters as well. If you were the golfing realtor, you could target those interested in golf and interested in buying real estate in Bend. Email is a direct personal way to engage with prospects and customers. Remember Paperless Agent? Well, they found us first on email. After I went to their website, then all of a sudden I was hit with what was known as remarketing ads, which Ben Premier also does when people visit our website. It's essentially a reminder to come back and spend more time on our site. And it's something we attribute to having around 40 returning people per day using our home search platform. Building a database of emails is a key part of your email campaign. On your website, for example, there's an opt-in form that includes an email address. This enables you to capture the email address of your website visitors and gives you the opportunity to nurture those visitors who may not be ready to buy immediately, but who are interested and want more information. There's also commercial marketing platforms. If you start doing this with a larger database, you will likely need to get a commercial email marketing platform system, such as your Outlook or Gmail accounts are not set up for this, and you could run the risk of having them shut down as a spammer. A couple of popular systems our brokers currently use are MailChimp and Constant Contact. Plus, there are legal requirements that you need to abide by, such as methods to unsubscribe that these commercial accounts take care of for you. If you decide to do email, you should do this part of nurturing your clients. And here's a few tips. Email regularly. How frequently depends on what you're sending them, but if you go months between emails, your contacts will start to go cold. They might forget who you are and consider you a spammer. But if you email them every day, they may do what you probably do at home and unsubscribe because you're not providing them value at that point. You're just being pushy and obnoxious. To keep the relationship warm, stay in touch with the email subscribers at least monthly, with perhaps a monthly newsletter, but I would recommend sending them items of value perhaps every week or two. And then give them value. If all you're going to say is use me for all your real estate needs, your emails will get old pretty quick. They will wither, unsubscribe, or ignored. All healthy relationships are based on an exchange of values. Make sure the majority of your emails are not sales pitches, but rather something that creates value for your clients. Some would suggest no less than a 3-to-1 ratio of value to sales pitch would be appropriate for realtors. And then automate. The great thing about commercial email systems is that you can use automation. These platforms allow you to set email campaigns that get sent out automatically depending upon how you set it up. And after the first email is set up, you can automatically send another piece of valuable content another week later if you want. Unfortunately, we don't have time in this class to talk about the different forms of advertising from television to postcards, but you can pretty much adapt the same techniques we discussed to any of these. We're going to go to the during phase next, but before we do, spend a minute to jot down some ideas for box 3 of your one-page marketing plan. Phase 2, the during phase. In the during phase, you're dealing with leads. Leads are people who have indicated an interest in what you're offering by responding to your marketing message. In the during phase, we'll talk about capturing leads in a database system, nurturing them with regular, valuable building content, and converting them into clients. So, capturing leads in a database system for future follow-up is critical to your marketing success. This is because only a small percentage of leads are ready to buy or sell a home immediately. Lead capture is all about properly handling interest and building your future sales pipeline. So let's think about hunters and farmers. The hunting and farming story is probably the best the best explanation on the 2 ways to get leads. It goes something like this. Imagine yourself as a hunter. You wake up in the morning, you gather your weapons and head out for the hunt. Some days you come back with a kill and your family eats a feast. Other days you come back empty-handed and your family goes hungry. The pressure is on every single day to hunt successfully. It's a constant battle. Now imagine yourself as a farmer. You plant your seeds and wait for them to be ready for the harvest. In the meantime, you nurture them and treat them with care. You water and tend to your crop. When they're ready, you start harvesting. My experience in the real estate business is that most realtors are hunters. They spend all their time trying to make today's kill. They go door knocking, make cold calls. Hope somebody walks through the door on floor and they're willing to discount their price quickly to get a customer. And they're willing to steal other realtors' clients if you give them the chance. And that's the reason why we all want you to have buyer service agreements in place. Their entire marketing plan reeks of desperation. What we're trying to teach is how to be farmers. The purpose of your advertising is to find people who are interested in what you do. That's your niche, rather than trying to make an immediate sale. When people of like interest respond, you can put them on your follow-up database so you can build value for them, position yourself as an authority, and create a relationship built on trust. Remember, most people are not ready to buy immediately, but the vast majority in real estate are online researching and not ready to commit. And if you do not get them to the database, you've lost them. There's also an incubation period. We refer to this period between starting to look and actually being ready to buy or sell as the incubation period, which across the nation is estimated as 8 months, or in certain resort communities can be several years. Here's another way to look at this. By marketing only to people who are ready to buy immediately, you are competing along with everyone else for the same 3%. But research shows that in any market, there's another 7% that are open to buying if the situation is right, and another 30% who are interested, but not yet ready to commit to anything. By going from 3% to a target market of 40%, you're increasing the effectiveness of your advertising by 1,233%. Farmers also have a tendency to look more credible, even to the 3% who are ready to buy now. Prospects are smart enough to be able to tell the difference between a broker with a desperate sales pitch and one who's interested in building a relationship first. When you educate and provide valuable content to people, you're seen as an expert in your field and that you have a personal and genuine interest in helping people. For example, if we were still in the recession, instead of just saying, hire me, I'm a short sale consultant, you might have better success putting out some valuable content discussing the benefits of a short sale over a bank foreclosure. If this is the kind of valuable content the prospects in your niche are looking for, your trustworthiness will skyrocket. Now you've positioned yourself as the expert and you've set yourself apart from your competition. So go ahead and take a moment to jot down some notes in box 4. What is your lead capture system? Box 5, nurturing leads. Nurturing leads is a step between taking people from being vaguely interested in what you have to offer to desiring it and wanting to do business with you. Years ago, I've heard about this car salesman back in college. His name is Joe Girard. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for having sold more big ticket items one at a time than any other salesperson in recorded history. Between 1963 and 1978, he sold over 13,000 cars at a Chevrolet dealership. Here's some amazing stats. In total, he sold 13,001 cars. That's an average of 6 per day. On his best day, he sold 18 vehicles. On his best month, he sold 174. In his best year, he sold 1,425. He sold more cars himself than 95% of Chevy dealerships. He sold them one at a time, no bulk deals. So what was his secret to his success? He lists several, including working hard and being likable. But what really set him apart from all the other hardworking, likable Chevy dealers is that Joe kept in touch with his customers regularly. That's highlighted. He kept in touch with his customers regularly. He sent a personalized greeting card every month to his entire list of customers. In January, he sent a Happy New Year card inside would say, "I like you." In February, it would be a Valentine's Day card, and again with the words written inside, "I like you," and so on. By the end of his career, he was sending out 13,000 cards a month and had assistants to help him with this. So you need to nurture like a farmer. What would you guess is the average number of times a realtor follows up on a lead? 50% give up after one contact. 65% give up after 2 contacts. 79.8% give up after 3 contacts. And nearly 90% have given up after the 4th contact. That's like a farmer only watering once or twice but expecting a great harvest. In summary, the most important thing you can take away from this section is to become a marketing farmer rather than a marketing hunter. It's a simple 3-step process. 1, advertise with the intention of finding people who are interested in what you do, your niche. Do this by providing relevant, free information that presents a solution to a problem or helps relieve them of the pain they are experiencing. This positions you as an expert and somebody to look to for more information in your niche. Add them to your database. That's number 2. And then 3, continually nurture them and provide them with value, such as a newsletter on your niche. Make it at least 3 to 1 valuable information to sales pitch. And most of all, make sure you keep the contact regular enough that your lead does not become cold. Here's a list of just some of the different assets that you can use to provide valuable content to your leads. E-capture websites, ebooks, pre-recorded message info lines, newsletters, blogs, pre-reports, direct mail sequences, email sequences, social media, online videos, podcasts, print ads, handwritten notes, email autoresponders, SMS autoresponders, and lumpy mail. Okay, well, maybe that last one got your attention, lumpy mail. I left out talking about snail mail earlier for a reason. It's expensive, and it doesn't generally bring in a very high return on investment. However, if you want to try something different that will really make you stand out, you might want to try lumpy mail. But to use this, you need a street address or a post office box. Think about how you sort through your mail at home. You pretty much just throw out anything that looks like junk mail and toss it without opening it. But remember when you got that mail with a coin in the cellophane window? You opened it right. But along the same lines, instead of a coin, there's something lumping on the inside. Are you curious? Which envelope are you going to open first? Lumpy mail is designed to be an attention grabber to get your message across and allows you to be very creative with your direct mail campaigns. For example, if you're trying to brand yourself as the green realtor, which might go over very well with our increasingly environmentally conscious population, why not send them a package of wildflower seeds? Or there are inexpensive compasses on clips that you can get from the Oriental Trading Company, along with a message like, "I'm here to guide you through the 1031 exchange process." And it takes some creativity, but you get the idea. So take a moment and write down what your lead nurturing system is. Next, we have box 6, sales conversion. Sales conversion is all about creating enough trust and demonstrating enough value to motivate interested leads into becoming your clients. So in this middle section, we've called the during phase. We talk about how to capture and nurture leads in order to build trust, value, and authority. All this is done through what we know, because what we know is that the agents they like, trust, and respect get their business. So by this time, you'll either be considered a pest, like when a solicitor shows up at your door selling something at dinner time, or a welcome guest, like a friend who regularly brings value into your life. Most realtors try to sell without first creating trust. The problem here is that you're asking them to help them purchase a home or list their home for sale before they actually like, trust, or respect you. Expecting somebody to get you to let you represent them on the biggest financial transaction of their life without trust is a bit like proposing marriage on a first date. It may work once in a while, but do you really want to stake your whole business on a strategy like that? Instead, you may want to move into a model of educating. With education, you build trust. With education, you position yourself as an expert. With education, you build relationships. With education, you make the selling process easier for both your prospective client and yourself. As we discussed earlier, instead of trying to hard sell, the first thing you should be doing is offering your leads something of value that educates them about a problem they have in your niche. Would you think people would rather have as a realtor a pushy salesman or an expert educator who has your interest at heart and wants to solve their problems? And resist the urge to discount. Even though you are in a highly competitive market, once you establish yourself as an expert in your field, you should resist the urge to discount. We know one broker who actually gets more than the going rate for his services because he does one thing really well, he provides value. Ben Premier tries to help in your value by providing you with ways to differentiate yourself from the masses and provide value in things like our in-house Matterport videos. In the consumer's mind, this can be a big deal, so don't let that low cost we charge you for these make you think any differently. So what is your sales conversion system? How's it working? Do you need to revisit your sales nurturing strategy? Now we're on to phase 3, the after phase. In the after phase, we're now dealing with actual customers, and you are their realtor. Customers are people who now like you, trust you, and respect you enough to have you represent them for what, for many, is their biggest life's investment, their home. It's during this phase you want to turn them into raving fans by giving them a world-class experience. Then you can do more business with them and increase their lifetime value. So, how do you deliver a world-class experience? The best realtors lead in what marketing terms is known as tribes, which are groups of people connected to one another, connected to a leader, and connected to an idea. These tribe leaders share a few things in common. They continually focus on wowing their customers, which in turn leads them into raving fans. They create and foster lifetime relationships. They make it easy and fun to deal with them. They create a sense of theater around their services, and they have systems so they can reliably and consistently deliver a great experience. Let's look at some strategies for turning customers into raving fans who trust you, refer you, and can't wait to do more business with you. Give your client not only what they want, but what they need. When it comes to creating fans, you need to give them not only what they want, but what they need. Getting them to take action and do what is needed to get the results they desire means being an expert in certain things yourself, so you can have authority in certain areas. The obvious example in real estate is getting a home ready for sale, so a homeowner can get what every realtor promises in their advertisements to help get them the most money in the shortest amount of time. Did you know that according to the National Association of Realtors from 2015, a staged home will sell for 17% more on average than a non-staged home, and 95% of staged homes sell in 11 days or less? For a realtor who's trying to help their clients sell their home faster and for more money, making yourself an expert and getting credentialed in home staging is one way to help differentiate you from your competition. You may want to check into Real Estate Staging Association or one of the many other top staging skills and certification programs for realtor. How many of you are familiar with Krista Mashore? I love this podcast title, How One Agent Sold 2,000 Homes by Being Different. Here's how that top agent magazine described Krista Mashore: a knack for marketing, a devotion to serving others, an outstanding work ethic, and a long-time passion for education. Krista quickly became the top agent in the San Diego area, starting off during the recession, and is now in the top 1% nationwide. Krista seems to find opportunity everywhere. Even during the recession, with a surge of short sales and foreclosures, Krista found inspiration and became a certified distressed property expert so she could help people exit gracefully during short sales. Another way Krista differentiates herself is by offering the same top level of service for a home, whether it's a $400,000 home or a $4 million home. Some things that are standard include basic staging services, professional photography, videography, and drone photography, as well as property-specific websites and 4-page full bleed color brochures. All of what she does is to achieve her primary goal, happy clients. According to Krista, I love being able to educate clients and to help people, she says. It's about the person, not the money. Around our office, we say people before things, and we know that as long as we're taking care of people, the best will come. You might be wondering, how does a top 1% in the nation still have a niche? Yes, she does. Her niche is waterfront properties. She spends a lot of money on marketing, so she can't afford to waste money marketing to the wrong people. Her big focus is being a community leader, so she did a lot of short videos on everything waterfront homes, including things that are happening in the community, like opening of a new restaurant or bar in the area. I would strongly encourage everyone to read Krista Mashore's book, How to Sell 100 Homes a Year. This can be purchased on Amazon, or let me know and I can see about getting you a free PDF version of the book. So we also need to use technology. We live in an internet age and programs and apps are popping up all over the place. According to a recent Nielsen survey, people spend over 10 hours per day, and with the actual figure 10 hours, 39 minutes on screens. As realtors, we need to recognize this trend and make sure we are using technology, including apps, to make the real estate process as frictionless as possible. Back to Krista Mashore for a second. One of her big things is she looks for and embraces every new technology related to real estate. She will sign up and give it a spin. She keeps some and gets rid of others, but she's on the cutting edge of technology at all times. At BIM Premier, we are already providing with an amazing technology that helps people get eyes on their property from anywhere in the world. Of course, that is our Matterport 3D video tours. I would encourage you to make that a major part of your campaign and listing presentations. There are also technologies that brokers can purchase that help you keep in touch with your leads. One that comes to mind that a few people use is BombBomb videos. These are short videos you can shoot on your phone, quick messages that show up and are playable from your emails. Of course, a great CRM that works for you is an essential piece of technology, but it is important not only to reach out to your leads on a regular basis, but also to make sure you're providing content that's valuable to them. Don't wait for BIM Premier to implement them company-wide like MPrep. If there's a technology that will make your life better and increase your productivity, for example, save your time, or increase your sales, for example, make you money, go try it out. Be the voice of value. Part of delivering a world-class experience to your clients and becoming the voice of value to them. You need to be a thought leader in your community, somebody who's sought out for opinion and comment. You do this by being a creator of content. Now, we do create some content in the office, and we encourage you to use it, but it's really generic in nature. You need to be a creator of content for your community, for your niche. From personal experience, I know this is how hard it is at first for some people like myself who are not creative writers. My husband's not a creative writer either, but between the two of us, we've had the task of creating all the content on our websites, as well as marketing materials, and me specifically, regularly writing blogs to both keep our company name out there and also to keep our business on the front page of Google. I'll say it gets easier the more you do it. To get started, you need valuable ideas. Google is a major source of ideas. Read books. Study other real estate masters like Krista Mashore or Tom Ferry. Study trends on your specific niche. Look at real estate data such as listings and solds in your niche. Interview people to get started, to get information. Get educated. Get a staging certification, or with Krista Mashore, certified distressed property expert. And find people who are already where you want to be and learn from them. In summary, it's all about building relationships, about becoming a trusted advisor in your community rather than just a salesperson. By regularly releasing valuable educational content to your target market, You are laying the foundation for building relationships and being a trusted source that people want to do business with. So, how will you deliver a world-class experience? Box 8 is increasing customer lifetime value. When you increase customer lifetime value, that's where the real money is made. But with realtors, it's often the most overlooked. To do this, you need to have strategies and tactics for getting existing customers to do more business with you or to refer others to you. I want to read a quick little summary about a famous speech from Russell Conwell called Aces of Diamonds that was first given in 1913, but is very much applicable today. Aces of Diamonds is about a man, Ali Hafed, who wanted to find diamonds so badly that he sold his farm, left his family, and went off in search that took him all over the world. His search was futile and ultimately led to nothing more but his own demise. Meanwhile, the new owner of his farm discovered the most magnificent diamond in all of the history of mankind right there on the farm that he had purchased from Ali Hafed. The moral of the story is dig first on your own property when seeking treasure. You all have a rich diamond mine in the form of existing customers that remains largely untapped, yet are willing to leave this family of existing customers after the first transaction and spend all your energy, money, and resources on seeking new sources of revenue. Here's a revealing quote from the owner of REH Real Estate that mimics what happens here when a broker leaves who has been working on our company leads. Over the past year, I've learned a lot more about marketing. Mostly, I learned that everything I used to do was the complete opposite of what I should have been doing. Real estate lead follow-up is not about the quick sale. Sure, you may get the occasional quick hit, but are you going to miss out on a ton of business? How do I know? Because I hired an assistant for my real estate team. She would follow up on all my old leads when she had downtime. She called and or emailed every single lead I had ever collected over the past 3 years, which is around 6,000 leads. She was able to get a hold of about 500 of those leads, and about 60% of them had already purchased a home, and not from me. That was 300 potential transactions that I had let slip down the drain. That was 300 potential relationships that I could have built. At an average price point of $250,000, that was $2,250,000 in potential commission income, all because I didn't think it was necessary to follow up on people who weren't motivated. Yeah, I felt like an idiot. So how will you increase your customer lifetime value? You do that by increasing referrals. Increasing referrals is an active process. Many realtors just sit back and wait for referrals, but don't have a deliberate process for making them happen. By implementing some simple tactics, you can make the flow of referrals a more reliable part of your marketing process. When I talk to realtors about how they market themselves, word of mouth is often the only form of marketing they rely on. If you do a good job, you would expect your clients to tell others about you, right? Wrong. Like we've brought up a couple of times now, but worth repeating, over 85% say they love their realtor and use them again, but only about 25% actually do. You cannot just sit back and wait for referrals. You need a plan to stimulate them. It's an active process and needs to be part of your overall marketing plan to build your business. Word of mouth is the equivalent to a free lunch. Sure, it's nice when it comes your way and you appreciate it, but do you really want to rely on it to feed your family? If this is you, it's time to build a much more robust referral marketing system. You need to stimulate referrals rather than just wait for them to happen. Do you remember the world's greatest salesman, George Gerard, that we talked about in Nurturing Leads? Part of the reason he started sending out cards to his clients monthly had to do with the law of 250. It started when he went to a Catholic funeral and looked at the visitor book. He noticed there were about 250 people. Later, he asked a man who ran a funeral how many people typically attended, and he said 250. At the time, Joe and his wife went to a wedding, and there were about 250 people on the bride's side and another 250 on the groom's. What Joe realized is that most people have about 250 people who are important enough to invite to a wedding or to a funeral. But the bigger realization Joe made was this: Every person he did business with represented 250 potential referrals if he did a great job, or 250 enemies if he did a crappy job. So Joe set about building relationships rather than just selling cars. This brings us to one of the best strategies for getting referrals as a realtor. Just ask. Are you asking your 85% of people who love you to give you a positive review on Google? Are you asking them for a referral? Here's a suggested script from NAR. I hope this letter finds you and your family in good health and spirits. As you know, I greatly value the business and personal relationship I have with you. I write today to ask a favor. I'm looking to expand my business and work for more good people like you. Do you have any friends, family, or colleagues in need of real estate brokerage services? As you may already know, my services include real estate sales, real estate purchases, real estate home staging, local real estate market reports, local real estate market expertise and guidance, real estate professional referrals for those moving to another state or country, real estate leasing, commercial, industrial, retail, and residential. Other, do you have a unique real estate issue you need assistance with? I'm happy to work with you to find solutions. Again, thank you for supporting me and my business endeavors. I hope to hear from you soon. Best wishes. Get specific. Only thing better than asking for a referral is to be specific about what kind of referral you want. This is especially important if you're having success in a niche and are trying to grow your base with this target market. Let's say your niche is a geographic area like Broken Top. You might say, Mr. Customer, it's been great working with you on the successful sale of your Broken Top home. As you know, I not only specialize in Broken Top, but have made it my home as well. If you know of anyone else I could help with the sale of their home in Broken Top, please feel free to share my contact information with them. Referrals from great clients like yourself mean the world to me. So how will you stimulate referrals? In conclusion, I'm sure by now you all know Einstein's definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Hopefully from today's class, you will develop your own marketing plan and implement that plan in 2020. One of the commonalities the successful 1% of realtors in this country, like Krista Masher, have is that they make marketing a regular routine in their business and execute their marketing plan continuously. Conversely, struggling realtors either neglect marketing altogether or do random acts or marketing with no real plan at all. They try random tactics once or twice and give up when they don't see immediate success. That's not a marketing plan. That's a recipe for disaster. If you're serious about your success, it's now time to take decisive action and put your marketing plan together. It's time to decide to become a great marketer and make your real estate business a great, huge success. We've given you a lot of valuable information to help you on your journey. This information that most of your competitors will not seek out. This puts you at a great advantage, but only if you take action. A couple of motivational quotes to end this class. Knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. And if you continue to do what you've always done, you'll continue to get the same results you've always gotten. Thank you.